In the digital world where treasures hide, Pure Hustle Podcast, our guide. We learn to hustle, flip items with care. eBay's our playground, we're going somewhere. From twisted gems to vintage gold, we turn the old into something bold. Finding value where others can't see. Pure Hustle Podcast teaches us. The flipping dreams, we're on the rise. Pure Hustle Podcast, our secret prize. eBay warriors will make a name, turning junk into fortune and gain. Yeah. They're turning junk into fortune and gain.
Welcome to Pure Hustle Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we're here for a live mini-sode. Man, you came right out the gate with that one.
Yeah, man, you got to come in hot. You got to come in with excitement because we got people here watching. We got some people in the chat right now. Look at this, Orlando. I'm going to say hi to the chat before you do.
All right, that's fine.
So we got True Rarities saying howdy. So howdy, I feel like I can almost say that now. Y'all, welcome y'all. And then we got Tim the Slim, one of our big Discord,
True Rarities Discord too.
Oh yes, that's right. And then we got consignment chats here. So I don't know if that's Libby or one of the other ladies on the group there, but welcome. Good to see you guys. So man, Orlando, what are we talking about today?
So today we're gonna talk about these crazy shipping prices. I didn't realize how bad it was. Now it's not like terrible. It's not like I'm gonna give up on reselling, but prices did go up. I was thinking about this because we kind of talked about this. I don't know, maybe 2 months ago we did a mini-sode. I can't remember. Everything seems so jumbled this last summer because I've been busy, but I just wanted to help people out because a lot of I would say anxiety develops when you watch a YouTube or you see a thumbnail and it's like shipping has gone up again, right? And in the comments, people are like, oh, this is why I left eBay. This is why I'm done. But the reality is there's things you can do to ensure that you're still profitable and ensure you're not losing a lot of money on reselling. And so that's kind of what I thought we should talk about today in our short mini-sode. And if you want to hear more about shipping, we have plenty of episodes about shipping, but I just wanted to tackle this a little bit.
Yeah. So like one of the first things that comes to mind is just right off the bat, when you're sourcing, you've got to be keeping shipping in mind. There's a couple of different aspects of that. Part of that is price, but another aspect of that is just the amount of time and energy it takes to ship, and the type of resources it's going to take. Like as prices have gone up, like it's easy for us to say, hey, priority shipping rates have gone up this percentage, or UPS is now this much more than it used to be, but everything has gone up too. Like you gotta factor in the fact that boxes have gone up, bubble wrap, and unless you're using America Bubble Boy, there's bubble wrap has gone up, tape has gone, like prices of everything keeps going up.
U-Haul.
Yeah,
I used to source at U-Haul and their packing paper has gone from $10 to $20.
Yeah, it's just significant increases, right? So all of those things you got to take into account, like how much more is it going to cost me to ship, not just the price of the shipping, but how much is it going to cost me in the supplies it's going to take to ship this item, to pack this item, and then time is crucial too. So if you're making less on each item because you're having to drop your prices because that's just the market we're in right now, and then also shipping prices have gone up. If I'm spending 20 minutes, 30 minutes packing something, it may not be worth it. And so when I'm sourcing, I'm going to be keeping shipping in mind more than ever before, right? Not just the, how fun is this going to be to ship, but how much time do I have the items already? Is it going to cost me more than it used to cost me? And then am I going to have to pay more to actually get this item to the carrier and then ultimately to the customer?
No, I agree. I agree. And again, the problem that happens is when people are sourcing and they don't keep shipping in mind, right? They'll end up picking a bunch of items, and then they'll go home and they'll list it, and they didn't like take the effort to make sure they had the right dimensions or the right weight or how they're going to ship it, and it sells. And this has happened. I'm sure I'm not the only one this happened to. And it sells, and let's say it's $100 item, but you didn't really figure it out, and then shipping ends up costing you like $60. And you're like, wait a second, like I completely was not thinking about shipping when I was sourcing, because maybe I wouldn't have picked this up, or if I did, I would have made sure that I adjusted my prices or that I had the right shipping supplies. Like that. That's one of the things I mean about shipping with sourcing in mind, because it's very easy to source without doing that and go, oh, I'll take care of it when that time comes. But I gotta tell you, how many times I have sourced something and it's cost me way more to ship, and I wish I had thought that through. Like that is a big deal. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mike?
No. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. The other thing is sourcing with the shipping price in mind. Okay. And so what I mean by that is, if you're buying something, right, and it's, let's say it's a $10 item or it's a $12 item, right, that you can only sell it for, but the shipping is going to cost like $8, right? Like you probably don't want to pick that up, right? Because you're going to end up losing money, right? You can go like, hey, yeah, I'll charge the buyer, but the hard thing is, how many people actually want to buy something for 12 and pay $8 shipping, right? Or let's say it's even a $10 item. How many people want to pay $10 an item and pay $8 shipping? And you might go, well, Orlando, you can just up the price to $20 and offer free shipping. Well, that's great, but let's say your shipping costs you $10 and you sourced it for $2, and then you have eBay fees. You're going to end up at a loss. So make sure you have that price in mind when you source items. In our long form podcast that we're dropping this Wednesday, I address the idea that if it's something that I can only sell for $15 or less, most of the time I won't even list it, because the cost of shipping now, USPS Ground Advantage went up, priority went up. It's just not worth my time, and it's the profit that you make. It's just not worth it to do that.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I'm interested with this one. So Libby over at Consignment Chats, click this one here. Said 2 words: calculated shipping. So there's a couple.
A moment.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. There's a couple of different ways you can look at this. So I know there are some people who like to use calculated shipping, and I'd like to hear in the comments below what people are doing. For me personally, I've always kind of stuck with just a flat rate shipping cost. One, because I get a little bit more say on how much money I'm going to make off of the item, because I know sometimes I could potentially eat a little bit of cost, right? Like I've had something like sell to Costa Rica, and like, oops, Puerto Rico, as I meant, Puerto Rico, and I didn't have calculated shipping on, and now I'm spending quite a bit of money because I had a flat rate or had free shipping. However, I like doing flat rate because I can kind of guesstimate. Like I know that these items I've sold, 100 shoes, so I know I'm going to be able to ship out shoes for, probably under $7 to $8. So I'm just going to charge, $7.50 for shipping. And sometimes it's cheaper depending on where it's going. Sometimes it's a little bit more, but overall I end up breaking even. And then I'm not worried about potentially losing customers, because I know I can potentially pick a different option to get it to them that's going to cost me a little bit less. Whereas if I do calculated shipping, I have a little bit less say of the price the customer is seeing. And so I might actually be losing some customers because they're seeing a higher calculated shipping price than I could actually get it to them at. And they might have been fine with $7 for this item, but they're seeing in calculated shipping like 13 something, but I might actually be able to get it to them for about $7.
Yeah, and I want to go back a little bit with Tim and Slim here. Said Tim and Slim, by the way, is our podcast celebrity. This last episode, this upcoming episode is the last time that we actually didn't mention his name. But says always know how you will ship something before you list it, and that goes back to what I was saying before. Like you need to. Like I can't tell you how imperative that is, especially when you're doing hard goods. Like you will find yourself in a terrible bind if you don't do that. Now, going back to this flat idea. So there's flat rate shipping and then there's flat fees. Okay. So flat rate shipping is, if you do a padded envelope, right, it's the same no matter what you put inside the padded envelope, as long as it's not over whatever. I think it's 70 pounds or something, or maybe it's less than that. I know on the medium flat rate, it's 70 pounds. On the large flat rate, it can be a little bit more. So there's that. Now, I don't do calculated shipping. And the reason I don't do calculated shipping anymore is because of eBay's change in May. In May, they announced that unless you opt out, all your items that you have calculated shipping, they're going to pass off those discounts to the buyer, which creates a problem. I talk about this in our long form podcast, so we drop in a little bit. And the reason it creates a problem is that when you sell that item and you do have an accurate, shipping listing, you have the right weight and everything, you are being charged fees by eBay. So you're already at a loss, right? So there's two ways to go about it. One is you can maybe up your dimensions, right? They're inaccurate, but they up them to cover the charge. Or you just do a flat fee all throughout. So for example, for me, if anything's over, let's say 15 pounds or a certain dimension, I'll just charge a flat $30 shipping flat. And most of the time it works out for me. Now, you want to make sure it works out for you, right? You don't want to put a $30 flat fee and then ends up costing $50 to ship, right? Generally for me, those $30 items cost me about 20 something to ship. If it's in California, it's like 10 or something to ship. If it's something that's really heavy, like I've had it before, I've had like chairs I've sold. I've had toll booths, not like the phone ones, but like the ones where you put coins in. I think that's what it's called, whatever. That one I charged $300 flat fee shipping, and that cost me like 100 and something with the pirate ship discount. But you got to be careful, because right now with calculated shipping, you could be losing on every single item that you sell if your dimensions are accurate, because eBay is taking fees out of it right away.
I don't know if I completely agree with that. I mean, like if
Okay.
with the calculated shipping, I mean, they're taking fee out of the total price, so I understand that, but I don't know if I necessarily see the problem with passing that on to the buyer. I get that some people want to make a little bit of handling money. I've never really banked on handling. Like I always think of like total price. Like I'm going to list this item for $40 with free shipping, or $30 with $10 shipping. And ultimately, like I know what my net's going to be based off of all the fees that I have. And if it gets to the customer and they ended up saving 50 cents on shipping because of the discount they got, like I don't know if that hurts me in any way necessarily, and it could potentially help you. I don't like not being able to see the price. You know what I mean? Like I don't like not knowing necessarily what the customer is seeing when they see what the shipping cost is going to be on their end, because then when they make an offer to you and they're like, well, the shipping's too high, and it's like, well, is it too high? I don't know. Like where, like, I just like having a little bit more, but it seems like a lot of people in our chat here are saying that they use the calculated shipping, and they're people that I trust their opinion on. So yeah, I think it's one of those things that different people have different experiences, but there's got to be a closer to right answer. So I'm interested to see what it is, which for maybe it's just a personality thing. Maybe there is one method that's able to allow you to get more sales, because I think making money on the handling sometimes is like, a little bit of icing on the cake, but I don't think that is necessarily the goal of what we're trying to do. We're trying to make a total amount of money and net profit on an item. And so if you could potentially increase your sales by using calculated shipping, or increase your sales by using a flat fee shipping, one of those two, and maybe it just depends on the item or the market you're in, but you got to figure out, I guess, what's going to get you the most number of sales.
You know what? I do agree with what you're saying, though, in the sense that since we don't know, right? That's the thing that bothers me, is I don't know, right? Like something I'll list and I'll put the dimensions. When I check to see how much it'll cost to ship on my listing, it's only going to show me how much it's going to cost to ship to me, right? It's not telling me how much it's going to cost somebody in New York in comparison to somebody in, let's say, Washington, right? So if eBay could fix that, and so right off the bat, and that like, oh, I'm going to lose money. But for me, what works for me is I just do flat across the board. I still have some items that I have calculated shipping on. Like today, I sold a Batman toy, and luckily my calculated shipping, ended up costing like $40 something, and it cost me $41 to ship. So it all worked out, but I still lost money because eBay took their fees. That's my biggest issue with all of this, is that if eBay never took fees out of shipping, no problem. I'm fine with it. But the fact that I'm still going to be out automatically it doesn't work for me. So I hopefully that made sense to everyone here. But I agree. Like I think you just got to find what works for you. Now, shipping policies. I don't. It's funny because this should be pretty simple, in the sense that it shouldn't be difficult to find out where these are. But if you haven't yet, okay, you need to go to my eBay, and then after you go to my eBay, you go to your account. Then after you go to account, you go down to policies, and then or business policies,
And then you got to talk to the guy standing by the tree and give him the special hand sign, and then you'll get to your shipping policies.
I know. And so, and it's complicated, but I'm telling you, shipping policies will help you a lot. Okay. And the reason I really enjoy them is because, for example, this last change with the USPS, right? Priority, for example, the medium flat rate box. And it's funny because Libby earlier on here, when Simon Chess talked about how padded flat rate used to be $5.74. Okay, now it's jumped. I think it's like $8.74 or something. I don't know what it's up there. And medium flat rate, right? It used to be like 12 something when I started going full time reselling. And so I just put, here's my flat fee of $12, and it's fine. And then next year I upped it to 13. And this last time, what I noticed, it's like 15 something dollars, I think. I could be off. And so I had all my items, all my shoes on medium flat rate at $13. But since they upped the shipping charge, I'm losing $1 on every single sale. So if I sell 100 shoes in a month, I'm losing $100. Shipping policies is nice because I just go to shipping policies and I change what I charge for my medium flat rate shipping from $13 to $14, and automatically it changed everything. Instead of me having to go listings, instead of me having to do bulk edit. And so definitely use shipping policies. I like when Simon Chat says, ooh, I love shipping policies, kind of geek out on them. And I agree because it makes it really streamlined, really easy. So if you haven't set up shipping policies, I strongly think it's one of the first things you should have to do. Having to adjust all of those would be crazy. And this last time, it was really easy. I just went in and I just put flat fees on everything. And the items that were on the calculated, and the items that were already flat fees, I just added another $1 or whatever I thought was good for my business.
Yeah, no, that's great. Now this last one here, I think is kind of a gray area, potentially, and I'm not going to say.
That's right. I got in trouble for this last time.
I'm not going to say legally whether or not you should be doing this. However,
what? There's no legality involved here.
I don't know, man. Maybe there is. So, one of the things that you can do is you look for the different options available to you to ship to them. Different carriers, different options within the same carrier. A lot of times you might have something, listed for, UPS ground, or it's USPS, whatever. You've got different things that the customer might have selected. Now, in my opinion, if I can get the item to them in the same amount of time, but for cheaper, I'm going to do that. Right. So, maybe it's like, wow, look, UPS is actually, $1.30 cheaper on this item. It's going to get to them maybe even faster. Maybe it'll get to them a day sooner. I'm going to select that option. And a lot of times it's not just $1, like, especially when it's bigger items. Sometimes you're looking at like, it was $5 cheaper to select this carrier, to select this one. And there's times that I'll do that. Now, I do know you can run into trouble for a few reasons. One, if you're shipping to somebody who's like, let's say they're on a military base, right? If the person is on a military base, you run into a potential issue where like they will only get USPS, like they're not going to get FedEx, or if it's a PO box. And so if you choose something that's not USPS, they paid for USPS, and now all of a sudden it's, you send it to UPS and the item's undeliverable, you're going to be in some hot water. Also, they may have said like, I purposely selected UPS and not USPS because my
that
post
has never happened. Thousands of items that has never happened.
No, and I'm sure it's one of those things where it's like it could, like I'm willing to take the risk, right? Like, but if I were to get an upset customer, because like right now, like my address is really funky. Like my address shows up different on Google than it does in like the 911 database, and so like our USPS technical address is like spelled slightly different than the actual legal address. So UPS and USPS have two separate addresses. So when people say like, hey, where do you live? I have to ask them like, are you shipping me something? Are you coming to my house? Because I have to spell it slightly differently because somebody messed up on a back end. So I could see like somebody being in a situation where they like, I purposely selected UPS or USPS, and because I don't like my mailman, or he always messes up my stuff, or because my address is funky, or I never get things because they can't find me on GPS, but my mailman knows how to get to me. So you potentially could run into an upset customer if you change what they selected because they purposely selected a specific carrier.
Yeah. I see. I mean, but most people in the chat are like, I've had it happen once. Libby of Consignment Chat says, I'll take the risk. Tim the Slim says, totally not a big deal. I had one customer that was mad. I've never had anybody mad. And what I mean by this, if you guys are still wondering, so for example, sometimes you can ship something priority and it'll say like it'll arrive between July 13 and July 17. And then you look at USPS Ground Advantage and it'll say item will arrive between July 13 and July 18, right? So it's like one extra day. And to me, it's worth the risk of that one extra day, because chances are, like, if you're a full-time seller like me and you ship the same day, like, it's going to get there early. I find that most resellers on eBay are terrible at shipping. They really are, because I can't tell you how many messages I get all the time of, oh man, this guy here's so fast, and I'm like, all I did is ship it on time. Like I didn't do anything special, right? Or this lightning fast shipping, or this is quick.
A plus seller.
Yeah, like all the time. And it's like, I even ship this ground, or I've actually had it sometimes where like it's the weekend, right? It's like Friday at 3 p.m. right? And the person wanted it priority, right? But priority was going to cost a ton of money. But I'm like, if I can get this to the UPS store and send it ground, or send it FedEx home delivery, which is comparable to priority, it's just a couple days later. If I could send it this Friday, right, it will get there in about the same amount of time, and chances are I'm not going to hear anything. Now, do at your own risk. I'll tell you, I've been doing this for a long time, and so listen, Tim. Tim here says Lando's also never had a negative. That man is a winner. Okay, yeah. But see all the laughing emojis. Listen, my day is coming, and maybe I just marked myself for a negative right now. But what I'm telling you is chances are that if you offer an item that is valuable, right, that people want, if great competitive price, you have great customer service, you ship really fast. If it maybe gets a day or so after, it's all good. And the bottom line with eBay, you won't get dinged on the other side of like late shipment. Most of the time, the window is bigger than the window is actually what they want you to ship it in, and you're always good. I've had maybe one item that I got late shipping in the last, I think, year and a half, and I'm constantly going through this process. And so, controversial, don't like me, I'm sorry. It just I think it's good. I think if you can save money, you can still keep the customer happy. I say, why not go down that avenue? You're just playing within the rules. So, all right, Mike, you got anything else you want to add?
No, just that I'm really thankful for all the people who are watching right now on Facebook and on YouTube, all the people in our chat. Shipping is one of those things that's not the most exciting thing to talk about, but you know what? It is one of those things that's a reality for us as resellers. So again, let us know in the comments if you're watching this after the live, like what are your preferred shipping methods? How are you saving money in shipping? And how has these increases in shipping prices affected you as a reseller?
And again, do what works for your own store. Not you should do this is not financial advice, but anyways, listen, in the end, you got to do what works for your store. Some people want to do calculated. Some people want to do flat fees. Some people want to ship exactly the carrier that's selected. Some people, I even myself, when I'm being generous and like I know it's somebody's birthday and I want to make sure it gets there on time, I'll ship priority into the ground. I'll lose that buck to make sure the customer is happy. So you can always go in that direction too. Hey, everyone, as Mike said, thank you for joining us. And with that being said, make sure to be real,
be relevant,
and be reselling late.
Peace.
Sunset, it's a brand new day. With our eyes on the prize, we're on our way. Hitting garage sales before the crowd, searching for treasures, making us proud. its worth. With 100